Hello again, it's your boy One Pooks, and today we're talking everything about pre-release. So let's just start with the first and foremost issue, pre-release prices. When does pre-release really start? So pre-release is when anyone gets product, but it's generally a week before the set drops. So the set drops on the 15th. You can see it's the 7th of March. So tomorrow will be a week before. Obviously, people have started getting product early, so they're already selling. But this is the best time to sell the newest set, not buy. This is the best time to sell. So if you get product early and you hit an alt art, I would recommend selling immediately. Why? Because once everyone holds onto the product, they all try to sell it too. So everyone who gets it on the release day will start to sell it. That price will drive down. It happens every time. We're just going to quickly look through, like every one of these cards, I would say. The only cards I think that are actually going to be tough to judge value on is Gecko Moria, because that card would be bought in crazy proportions. So $15, $20, $25. That's what I would say. Obviously, this set's going to be opened a lot. A lot of people who open this aren't even playing the game, so they don't care about a playset. So that factors into everything. Both of these should settle closer to $20, and if anything, it'll be the Sanchi that holds value, and Zoro will be the fateful $5 to $8 one in 3 months. Leader cards all seem pretty valuable. They all look really nice. I like the style. It's not necessarily manga, but it's face profile shot. So if you pull a leader card, sell it right now, but you'll probably get some money off it in the future if you want to buy it back. So trust me on that. Hody Jones is another one. I just have no idea if it's going to stick to $12 or if it's going to drop to like $3 like the rest of them, or $5. Perona, Hody Jones, Gecko Moria, Reiju. I think these two, once they drop down enough, because no one's really playing Rev Army or these red cards, I'm hoping, but I'm going to pick up a playset of Shanks, hopefully for about $2 a card. You can just wait if you don't want to build the deck. Most SRs, it literally becomes a spread of like maybe max $15 for the most expensive one, wink wink. But you know, everything else from like the bottom like 5 tend to value around $1. So save $15, you know, save 15, save $20 per card. Just wait. You don't necessarily need these cards right away. And this goes true for the Canadian websites. This is where I would buy my product. Obviously, I'm not pre-ordering a $300 box. I support local, and they do a little bit closer to market value, but still not a happy number that I'm with. I'm not happy with the scalping, but honestly, with the demand being higher than the amount of product, it makes sense. You just got to live with it. So yeah, don't buy anything, not even these uncommons and commons. Like this card's probably going to be 2 cents, so like every one of these cards will probably go down to 1/10 of the price. Honestly, you're just paying a pre-release price. All these cards will settle. The ones that are really playable will come back to $1, maybe even just 50 cents. If it's an uncommon, it can actually get pretty expensive. But even still, it's like you pick the color you want. You'll be able to get a nice playset of everything whenever you want it. But $10 for a rare card, you don't need that. Trust me on that. Anyway, let's look at the sets. The second portion is kind of about what you would draft in the format, how you should play this, and how, from my experience in pre-release events, everything boils down. Let's just start it up. The SP cards, all very cool. Unfortunately, the only ones that you could actually really use are one... maybe not. I mean, I would run this because it rests a 4, and you never know when you need to close a game out. Here, let's be honest. You're running Eustace Kid as your leader. I'm not, but most people who want to win are just going to play the leader that has the most success. So Eustace Kid is the best in this format, unless you can pull together a tribe. And I do think there is only film as your option if you can get enough film cards. So you get 6 packs, 72 cards. You're bound to get maybe a leader card, which will, you know, okay, that's one of your 72 cards. So you only have 71 playable cards, or 70, but in reality, you only really have like 55, maybe 50 cards that are actually like decent to play. Otherwise, they just have restrictions that you don't want to play with Like, you don't want to pick a leader that can't fully utilize, Gecko Moria. Like, if you can't fully utilize the Thriller Bark Pirates in the set, then you're going to be screwed. So you want general cards that are good. You're probably going to get about 50 of them. And I do think there's a chance you can high roll with film. So I would run the green Uta, not the purple red one from this set. I would bring the green Uta leader just in case you high roll. Otherwise, Eustace Kid. Sanji works if you get a lot of vanillas. It's just a strong character to have to get the Dawn back. So let's look. Out of all of these, it's honestly, you could make Rebecca work if you pull at least 12 to 16 black cards that are, her restriction type. The 3 costs are pretty much what you want, and then anything higher is fine as long as it has counter, or you can trash cards in your hand. I mean, if you're Kid, you can pull it back. So there's some value. Nico Robin, Miss All Sunday, probably one of your best cards because it just ramps you up to your 8 Dawn curve or your 9 Dawn. It's better to go odd because then you go up to 6 Dawn. She ramps you, and then you draw a card if you have 6 Dawn. So it's the perfect 5 Dawn play. Otherwise, let's look at the cards in the set. So Inazuma, Banish is never bad. Having a counter is okay. It's a tough call. I would say that's definitely one you could run if you don't have any cards else. Not one you want to play. Emporio is not worth playing unless you can stack ref cards, which you probably won't. Baron, I just don't see the value in him or Lily Carnation. There is kind of like a reverse Rebecca. We'll see when we see the Lily Carnation, but Gaspard, vanillas are really nice, so they're actually playable. A word of advice is that these games tend to become just board control. So if you play anything more than 2 or 3 things on the board, they're going to start trying to eliminate that. They're going to make sure you have no extra swings. It's just a game of who can shave more cards out of your hand and then, guarantee that the next 2-3 swings are going to win. Saga is a Dawn 1 when attacking. Needs to trash a film character to get plus 1000 till the start of your next turn. Kind of garbage, but it's a 2k counter. So the general rule, if I see a 2k counter, just play it. Because you want to have 8 2ks. You're not even going to play them as cards. You're just using them as the 2k counter. Like, if you pull 8 to 9 2ks, play them all. If you pull 16 2ks, then maybe you actually get to choose, but you will not. You will pull maybe 5 if you're lucky. So you play every 2k you see, and that's it. That's all I have to say. Shanks, great removal, 10 Dawn play. Yes, I would play that, and I'm keeping that card because it's a beautiful card. Oh, speaking of beautiful cards, the Parallel. Schneider's a vanilla, a film type vanilla, so honestly, you probably might play him. Shiraya, blocker. When they block, or when this character attacks, they get the same power as your opponent's leader until the start of the next turn. So this carries on, which is sick. So the first block will match their power, and then when you attack next turn, it'll also basically gain power. So any leader except for Eustace Kid, you're gaining plus 1000 or plus 2000 into Red Purple Luffy or Whitebeard, which is crazy. Great card, great blocker. Sell the alt art if you get it. Douglas Bullet is a film type. If your leader has film type, it gains blocker. Maybe people are going to start to see why I think the green Uta might actually be really good if you just high rolled a bunch of film cards. Another film one, activate main, rest in Uta, plus 5000. That can be useful. Bear King, another film card. If your opponent has a leader or character with a base power of 6000 or more, it just can't be KO'd in battle. This is a sleeper card, I think. This card's going to be a pain in the butt to deal with unless they get hard removal and they see it when they see this card. So it's an uncommon. You'll probably get 1. Hopefully you get 2 of these. Honestly, I really want to play the green Uta leader. I want to high roll so bad. Monkey D. Luffy, you got a searcher with a trigger. Look at the top 3 cards, reveal a film type, place the rest at the bottom of your deck. Man, it's just another Uta ability on a stick. So it's a rare. You're probably not going to see one, but if you do, you could also see one rare, one of the alt arts. So that would also be a good time. I would definitely play it. I don't care about not playing alt arts. You gotta play them if you want to win these events, team. If you get an alt art of a good card, you gotta play it. I played the Gear 5 Luffy when he was like $100. I do not care. Ratchet, he's got a plus 1k garbage effect. Lily Carnation. So Lily Carnation is an activate main, trash a character with 6000 power, play 1 film character with a 2,000 to 5,000 power from your trash. So it's not color restricted. There are purple film cards. It's only a few, but this is kind of like a lame-ass Rebecca. So, you swing with 6k with a character, probably the Baron guy, and then you play a film-type character when you activate main. Yeah, I don't know. You can play from the trash. That's kind of cool, but I don't know. You're probably not going to be able to play it in this meta. But raise max, activate main, it's Gordon. Not a bad card. Good film card. Ooh, but it's an uncommon, so you'll probably see one. We got Meteor Strike of Love, main / counter. Add one card from the top of your life to your hand. Up to one of your leaders or characters gains plus 3,000 during the turn. This will be one of the cards you need to watch out for if you're playing against Eustace Kid. Honestly, if you can text something that'll just like ruin their day, make them take their life and try and go for lethal, this might be the only way for you to counterplay into a win against Kid. It's a common, you'll probably see one or two of them. Gum Gum King Kong Gatling, plus 3,000. It's basically a plus 4,000 if they have a 7k character on the board. So, as long as it's after the 4th turn, they should have something with 7k, maybe 8k. So this should be a plus 4k power for leader or character. Just watch out for this. This is another thing that Kid's going to have. So Kid's going to have a lot of access to increasing their power. What we need is blockers and ways to like get around this. So I wouldn't sleep on it, especially if you somehow get the Uda card, because you'll have 5 life. And at some point you'll be like, honestly, I don't even need to have 3 life. I can go down to 2 or 1 and I'll be chilling. KO a character with 5,000 power or less. I think this might be good. Might be good for picking off something early on. It's a 3 that kills a 5k power. So good stats for the cost. I think 3/5s are like they tend to have good effects, so this will be pretty useful. If 3 Dawn just kill anything, you're not playing Hody Jones, you might want to play Perona. Perona might actually be a good card if you pull it in your packs. Rest one character with a cost of 4, get rid of a blocker and just win the game, or give something -1 to hit something a little higher with your black and green effects. Yamato, I probably wouldn't play this leader unless you somehow got like 3 of the Namis. If you got 3 of those Namis, so the super rare ones that give you banish, then of course play it and just, shave 2 cards off their life at the beginning and you win no matter what. There's no chance they have enough 2Ks or 1Ks in their hand to like survive like a 10K swing on turn 3. Unlikely. Arlong, one of the best cards in the set. Trash 1 card. One of your opponent's rested leaders cannot attack until the end of their turn. So you stop any double swings from leaders. You stop any swing from leader. You just got to trash a card. Hopefully a card without a counter. Very good card. And it has a trigger. It rests a 4 cost. That's nuts. Everything else that is Fishman is pretty much garbage. If your leader has Fishman Pirates, nope. 4 cards on the top of your deck, reveal a Fishman. That could be good, maybe if you're running Arlong, but I don't see it happening. Restand a 4 less. You can't attack a leader, so good for board control, I guess, but nah, you're probably not playing that. Rest a 3 or less on KO. Unlikely. Pretty trash. A 2k counter. Play it. Probably not. You're not running Fishman Pirates. Hatchan is a trigger. 4/5 with a trigger and a counter. Probably not still. I just don't think you can. Hammond, it's a blocker. Blockers are pretty useful, but there are a couple, and we'll see this in the blue cards, but a lot of blue cards just like bottom deck 2s, and that just makes me fear what will happen. Vanderdecken, you can high roll Vanderdecken and the Arc. You have to have the Arc Noah, and if you have it in play, you can basically rest anything and then kill something for like 8 Dawn, and because he kills anything, no cost restriction. So kind of a useful tech card. I actually think you're going to play every version of this you see. So like if you get this card, if you pull Vanderdecken, you might as well play it, because they're going to attack with something big or something small, and you're just going to get a 2 cost. You got to trash a fish type, a Fishman character or Noah Arc. I mean, grain of salt. If you have Fishman cards in your hand, you might as well run this. If you run it in your deck, you don't have anything, you have a bunch of those 2Ks, and like maybe there's an event near here at the end that we like, but this is an activate main, rest a 4 cost, gain plus 1,000 power. Honestly, you might actually play this because he can rest a 4 cost even if you have 0 life, because this happens after. So pretty crazy. This could be a good game finisher. So honestly, you might actually have this, and it's a no counter card, so he works well with Vander. Hody Jones, you're definitely playing this card to finish up the game early on. Easy. The easiest card to play. Yep. Ryuma. On play / on KO, you kill a 4 cost that's rested. They can't trade into it unless they have a 5 cost or higher on the board. On play, it's just going to clear something usually. Great card. Wadatsumi. Vanilla. Pretty good. The Billion-Fold World. Trichiliocosm. Rad Beam if you have 8 or more rested Dawn. So if you use 7 Dawn in a turn and then save 1 for this event, you'll get a plus 4k. You're running this. Run this as many times as you can. It's an uncommon, just like Rad Beam. You ain't even worth killing. Rest a 6 or KO a 6. For 4, activate this card's main effect. I actually think I would play this if I didn't have any other events. It seems like decent removal. Hits pretty high. We've seen some decent 6 drops. There's a couple 6 drop vanillas, so they're probably, honestly, I'm telling you, it's a vanilla game. You know, there will be vanillas. So being able to kill a 5, 6, even a 4 for 4 doesn't feel the worst. And then you can trigger it and then be able to do both of this. Shark Arrow, KO up to 2 rested characters with a cost of 3 or less. If you play Perona, you actually might be able to you might run this. You just might. You might be able to kill like some stupid blocker, rest a blocker, drop the cost of something and kill 2 things. I actually think potentially if you have and pull Perona, you might want to play it. But Reiju, once per turn when a Dawn card is returned to your Dawn deck, draw 1. Probably not playing that. Aramaki's an 8k, 8 cost blocker. I actually think he's pretty strong. Really slow, but there's no restanding really effects, but every turn you can just basically freely block whatever you want. Seems somewhat useful. But then again, you could brick out, so it's a card you'll have to think about. Gion is a 2k counter with a pretty okay effect, but you're probably just going to use it as a 2k counter. Kuzan is a 3/5, draw 2, place 2 at the bottom of your deck. I actually would consider running it if you don't have many other cards. If you're running out of low cost cards that are just good bodies, a 3/5 is good. The on play is pretty strong for just cycling. Yeah, I think you should consider it. Sakazuki. On play, place a 2 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. So you combo this with Perona, you can hit a 3 or less for free. Yeah, just consider that. This actually makes me consider what would happen if I played Garp, because the red-black Garp deck could just run all these blue cards that are going to do all these silly little 2 costs or less, but I can just put 5 Dawn on my leader or around the board and then just hit a 7 cost. So pretty interesting. Charlotte Pudding, 4 cost, 1k counter. Your opponent returns all cards in their hand to their deck, draws 5. So if they have any more than 7, if they have 7 cards or more, I would probably play this, because this is just like a, you know, rip 2 cards out of their hand. It puts it in the deck, but it's not very easy for decks to pull cards. So it should actually be very disrupting. Zeph, if your opponent activates a blocker, if your leader has East Blue type, you're not running this. Sengoku's a 5/7, probably going to see play. Has cool art. Toshigi's a 1k, search for a navy. If you do go all out on the blue cards, then yes, you probably run this, but if you don't, no. Suru, 2k counter, trash 2 cards from our hand. Your opponent has to return 1 of their characters to their hand. If they have nothing else but their 9 drop on the field, then that's going back to hand. So, wow. You're running it because it's a 2k. I had a feeling I was going to miss completely, and then we were just going to get ejected. Tokikake. If you have 4 less cards in your hand, you can't be KO'd in battle. Nope. Jaguar de Sol. Place a character with a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of the deck. Not bad, but no, you're not running that. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, he gets blocker. After your opponent declares an attack, you can rest. Sorry, I don't know why I read the blocker text. I actually think this is decent, because if you have a 1 or 2 of him, just find him on your first turn or second turn and play him, because he can double as a blocker whenever you want. They might not kill him off early, but he doubles as a blocker, so I think that's the real the value in this card. It's a 2/4, not even that bad. Garp, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, they can't block him. 5/7, no counter, not that good, but you know, he would be a decent substitute in the 5-drop range. Like if you just are missing a curve card for 5, just put him in there. Amanu Murakama Kumo sword, place a 2 or 1, place a 2 and a 1 at the bottom of the opponent's deck in any order. Maybe with Perona, but you're probably not running this. Pretty dumpster. Plus 1k for the turn. Reveal the top card of our life, or of our deck. Place 1 character with a cost of 2. Definitely not running this. I'm just not going to read them off. This is a place 2 characters with a cost of 6 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. If you run Perona, you probably actually are going to run this, because this is a pretty funny deny tempo card. You just need to make sure you have a way to get rid of it if you don't want to see this. White Snake is a 1k 2-cost counter event. Gives you 1k for the whole turn and you draw a card. I actually might see some play, in my opinion. All these purple cards are garbage except for... Oh yeah, that's a 2k. I'd run that. Garbage. Good. This is actually a good card. I mean, like, there's no chance you're ever playing this card, but you will probably play this because on play, especially late game, once you're both at 10 Dawn, you can just draw 2 cards. It has a 1k counter. It's not that bad of a card. Like, it's not dead in hand or anything, so play both of the Raziers. El Dorago is a film card, and it's a vanilla. I would play that. Grand Tesoro, Dawn -1 on play. If your leader has the film type, add up to 2 film type character cards with a cost of 4 or less from the... Wow, and he has a counter? Wow, if I had like 2 of these uncommons, I think I would seriously consider running Green Uta, because this is crazy. That just recursion, just, yeah, give me back those 2 2Ks or something. There might not even be film 2Ks in this set. I'll have to check. But we have Shiki. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 1, trash 1 from your hand, and he's a blocker. Yes, I don't see why you wouldn't want to play this card. 2-cost blocker. He's not 2k power, but it doesn't really matter. He's still getting bottom decked if they have the option. Or KO'd. But at least his on-play lets you cycle, so I think that's actually really playable. Zephyr, Dawn -1. Negate the effect of one of your opponent's characters, then if it has 5,000 power or less, KO it. You can just straight up kill something with 5,000 power or less, or just like completely nullify an annoying card. Actually pretty interesting. I would play this. It's a 7-drop. It's good tempo. It will shut you down and on, but if you're late game and this is what you top deck, this actually could be really strong in killing a blocker. You can just remove the blocking effect off Aramaki and then just go for game. So, yeah. Count Battler is a Dawn -1, rests up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. No, but once again, if you do run the Green Uta, consider it. Supernova, it's Hitokiri Kamazo. When a Dawn is returned to your Dawn deck on your turn, once per turn, KO a 2-cost or less. It's a 2k counter, you're running it. Too much of a mouthful. Black Bug. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than your opponent's, place one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less at the bottom of your opponent's deck. I would consider that. This is actually kind of funny. And this is a trigger that places a 4 or less at the bottom. You actually are running this Germa card, I think. You're not running this, and you're not running that, but that was a pretty good 4 to bottom deck of 5. It's not the craziest card. It's you know, it's basically a more complicated 3,000 worlds, but we have options. We have the ability to get 3,000 worlds in this meta, so might as well use it. Gecko Moria, pretty conditional, probably not. You could high roll a bunch of black cards, but you're not gonna get them, so unlikely. So no, you KO with 2 or less. I mean, actually, that's not even a bad effect. You actually might play that just to kill a chump blocker on a turn where you really want to go for big damage. On play, nope. Can't attack, KO with Thriller Bark. Nope. Shigaru of the Wind. On KO, up to one of your leaders or characters gains plus 1,000 during the turn. There is some merit in this, but you just can't really pull it off well. He gets plus 1,000 for every 5 cards in the trash. I don't think you're playing that. Gecko Moria is just generally good. Play a 4 and a 2 out from your trash. Yeah, you're playing that for sure. 100%. That's it. Like, you're playing this card if you get it, and then I tell you you should sell it immediately after, and then buy it once it's like $15. So make $40, make $20 if you can. Cerberus, blocker. Consider it. Sai, if your leader has Dressrosa type and is active, he gains 2,000. That's kind of cool for Dressrosa decks, but no, you're not playing it in this. On play, trash 3 cards from the top of your deck, and on KO, nah. Hogback, return 2 cards, nah. You need Thriller Bark Pirates, probably not. Sindri's a 2k counter, yep. Brook is a on play, trash one of your opponent's characters, trash, no on KO effect goes off. So with Perona you can kill a 5, wink wink. Your opponent places 3 cards in the trash to the bottom of their deck at any order. I think you actually are playing Brook. He's a good tempo card for 6. 6k power, KO of 5 with Perona. KO of 4 is still good. Perona, 4 costs, 2k counter, you're running it based on that, but the effect is actually pretty strong anyway, so you're also doing it for this effect. You get some choices. I would probably just trash. I mean, depends. You're most likely just trashing a card from their hand, not using the -3, but if you want to use the -3, do it. Kill a 7 with Brook if you have both. That's a good turn. Lola, Vanilla, good. Shadows Asgard, plus 1k, then KO any Thriller Barks, probably not. Gonna run that, nothing at all. Add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Your characters with a cost of 7 or less cannot be KO'd in battle during this turn. If you somehow can just like squirt out like 3 or 4 blockers, and then leave 3 Dawn for this, then yes, I would play this, as long as they don't have that 1 card that can't be blocked. It was, yikes. Garp. I think Garp's the only card we've seen that can be blocked. So that's the only card that you would misplay by playing this. Otherwise, if you had 3 blockers, 100%. That's 2 swings blocked for free. They can KO something if they have the power to, but you should be good. Like, and you'll have your blockers for the next turn too. Pretty strong. Negative Hollow, 2 cost, trash 1 card from your opponent's hand. I think you actually just throw this in your deck just to mess with your opponent. You want to play it early on because later on they'll just trash dead cards, but still a decent card. Thriller Bark, Rest, nah. I mean, okay, maybe you're playing Perona. You can play a 2 cost from your trash rested. You can actually maybe cycle with some of those 2 costs, so like maybe the Perona deck actually could do this as a supplement, but I would not rely on this. Yellow, my favorite color. 2k counter. Good card. It has a pretty good on-play effect too, actually. You can close out a game if you want to make sure they don't have something stupid in their life. I don't think we've seen any crazy triggers just yet, but we'll see them now. Dawn times 2 when attacking. Trash 1 card from your hand. KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards. Okay. Pretty decent, actually. I think you might play this on curve. Onami, for sure play that card. Banish is too strong. Place a stage, probably not. Trash 2 cards from your hand. Add 1 character with 0 power to the top or bottom of your owner's life cards face up. The only 0 cost we've seen is this one, so I guess you could combo it with him. Get the 2k back in your hand, get the life value, the knowledge you want. But otherwise, you really don't have many 0 cost or 0k power cards just yet. At least in this format. Kikinoju on KO, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, you gain a life. So this is one of those cards where that Brook card would actually be really strong into, because Brook would just trash it, not KO it. So they wouldn't gain a life. So there's some tech here. Genbo's vanilla, I would run. Kikuzuki Hiyori, add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. You basically just rearrange your life. It's a 2k, great card. Play as many of them as you can. Momonosuke blocker on play, add up 1 of your Land of Wano characters. Basically just heal. this card only works if you can pull like this card, maybe, yeah, you definitely need a Kikinoju, and then maybe like a Kawamatsu or something. Like you need to have some of these Land of Wano cards. You need like 5 or 6 of them, and then you can high roll with Momonosuke. A 5/6 blocker is always appreciated. It's a lot harder to kill. Then again, just be aware of the Perona mains if they do come out. But I think you're mostly going to see Eustace Kids. So Tengu Yama, one of your Land of Wano type leader characters, gains plus 2,000. It's a 1/2. No, I wouldn't play it. I mean, there is synergy with Momonosuke, so consider that. But otherwise, he just doesn't seem valuable to me. Even if you could just bounce him indefinitely, or only with Momonosuke, because Kawamatsu, he has too much power. So Denjiro is a Dawn ×2. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, he can't be KO'd by effects. Not bad. He has a trigger too. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, play him. Consider it. Like, heavily consider him. On, like, not a great card, but if you need some Wano triggers, then you can heal a life and then keep him alive an extra turn in case you're afraid of them swinging. So Nekomamushi can attack active characters. 100% play this card. One of the best cards in the set. Raizo, trash 1 card from your hand. Rest a Dawn card. He's a tech card into half. So, you know, stack Raizos if you get 2 Momonosukes. If you get a Momonosuke, maybe just throw a Raizo in. You don't even have to if you have the other ones, but you can play around with some of these Wano cards, but definitely consider running them as a package. Raki is a blocker if you have a Shandian Warrior. No chance. Wiper is a 5/7, puts a stage at the bottom, searches for the top 5. Oh my god, too complicated. Not good. This card's good for turning your 0 or your 0 counter cards into like a 1k counter or a 2k, basically. You trash a card, gain 3,000, so consider this card with a 1k, and then it turns anything into a 2k, which can value you up to 2,000 power, or it can literally, like, if you hit nothing else, and you just want to make sure you get rid of this card for the 1k, then you would touch a 2k, and then you only really get 1k power, but you hit 2 0 cost cards, and boom. It's like a 1k and a 2k, or a 3k and a 0k. Does not matter. It's pretty strong. They're always good cards, so consider running it. Reject, you're running this as many times as you can. It's not dead in hand. You get to choose. 100% run it, because it's also getting banned. And then the Arc Maxime. Rest this card and one of your Enel cards. KO up to all of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. So this could see play if you run Enel in these decks, or in this format. You can run Enel. He's a pretty general leader, and some of these cards are kind of funny. But this card, there are a lot of 2-cost blockers. Just judge. I mean, maybe in like 5 days when I finish my event, I'll tell you how often I saw 2-cost blockers, and if actually this would have been a decent card, since all you have to do is rest a leader and this. So, pretty cool. Ronor Zoro is a 9-cost. I think he's too expensive to actually get to work. There's no way to get him out cheaper. You could ramp up Dawn, maybe, I guess, if you found a purple deck like P. Luffy and you wanted to play that. But otherwise, I just don't think you'll make him work. Like I said, consider maybe running a purple deck like P. Luffy, ramping twice with your leader, going from 2 Dawn to 5 Dawn to 8 Dawn, and then 10 Dawn on your 4th turn. Being able to play this and keep that green event alive, and then maybe surviving. As long as you can survive a turn, it should be pretty tough for them to catch up, especially once you have this. And I didn't really see any cards that would obliterate, that could just pluck a 9-cost off the board. It seems pretty hard to kill big bodies, but be aware of Vanderdecken. If they have some Fishman cards, all they have to do is trash a Fishman or the Noah's Ark. Anyway. Last card is Sanji. Sanji's pretty strong, actually. There's not much top deck rearranging, but yeah. Because there's no top deck rearranging, I actually think it's too risky. You are going to be playing a bunch of characters and like a very low chance of hitting an event, but, you know, there's value in playing this out, getting a 5-drop on the field for free. Depends on how your deck's built, but for the most part, you probably can play Sanji over Zoro. He seems a little bit more consistent, but then again, I'm actually kind of convincing myself that playing P. Luffy with this Zoro card will get you really good results once you have 10 Dawn pretty quickly. But, you know, that's what I think about these cards. I do think your best cards are, like, some of the best blockers in the game. Is this guy right here, and then this card. These two film cards are going to be insane blockers. If you're lucky and you can pull a couple of these, I actually think consider running the Green Uta, but otherwise you're probably just going to run Kid. Don't be afraid to go for game if you only have one life and no blockers and you're staring at a Kid with, 12k. If you have no chance of surviving, 12 twice or 10 twice followed by a 9 from like a 7k body on the field, whatever the math ends up being. If you can't survive it, then just go for it, because there's a chance that they're only going to have at max 3k counter and like 5 cards, 6 cards. Like, it's going to be very difficult for them to hold on to 2ks. Anyone who plays this format like standard is going to learn very quickly that they do not have the resources to just throw cards and save these chumps sometimes. Sometimes it's just a better idea to play tempo out, try and clear the board when you can, but honestly realizing that if they're just trashing cards, keeping their 3s and 5s alive, then when they start playing 9s, maybe a 7 or an 8, you can just obliterate it with your tempo cards, and they're going to run out of cards, and the only way they're going to kill it on your side is if they stack 6 Dawn over, 4 Dawn over. Honestly, I would swing 4 over. That's the max I would go for to confirm something, unless it's lethal. 4 Dawn, you're asking for 2 2Ks and a 1K. Brother, they probably don't even have 2 2Ks in hand. They probably have 1. So you're asking for a 2K and 3 1Ks. And if they do have 2 2Ks, what are the chances that they have more than 2 1Ks? Because you're just going to take everything except for a 1K counter out of their hand. They're probably screwed. Consider that. Don't be afraid to run vanillas. And don't be afraid to run a leader that isn't Kid. No, you don't have to play meta. I don't want to play meta. I'm not going to play meta. So you'll see my video in a week. Good luck. And once again, do not buy pre-sale prices, sell pre-sale prices. Buy probably about a week and a half from now. Honestly, 2 weeks actually. 2 weeks from now on the 21st of March. Anyway, do not buy pre-sale prices. Just sell if you get cards early, and then buy them as singles later on. I'll make a video when it's a lot better of a price time, and I'll tell you when I'm pretty much picking up, or if I've already picked up. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.